rolling tumors to roaring lampooners, the Tigers on a Roll show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Welcome back to the Tigers on a Roll podcast. To my Auburn family, the energy in the facility this week is focused, it is intense, and frankly, it is a little complicated. But we've got an update on all that and a tough night for volleyball, a look at what the football team is grinding on during the bye week, and what I think may be the big inside scoop on the QB situation, and a little bit about the coaching search. And remember, everyone, if you love getting in the weeds of the jungle, then you need to be a part of the Tigers on a Roll family. I need you to hit that like button, to subscribe to the channel, and be sure to ring the notification bell so you don't miss out on what I think is some pretty incredible sports coverage across the plains. And don't forget to join the conversation with us on X. Follow us at Tigers on a Roll. Your engagement keeps us on a roll. Don't forget that the channel is totally free for you to enjoy. All you need to do is just like and share, and we can keep that going and keep that growing. But I want to start off by sending out some love to Coach Crouch and the Auburn volleyball team. They hosted number 4 Texas last night, ultimately falling 3-2. It was quite a tough loss to watch, but the girls fought really hard to the end. They went toe to toe with an elite team. Especially in those middle sets, it was a reverse sweep going into the 5th, that Auburn was setting up for, and the final scores showed, what I think is the competitive nature of the upperclassmen on senior night. The defense was stout as they have been all year. They racked up for the 11th time this season double-digit blocks, and that was against a top 5 team. But double-digit blocks for the 11th time this season. It was also a huge day dedicated to recognizing those seniors. Alexis DaCosta, who recently recorded her 1,000th career dig, she had a game-high 16 digs yesterday, and Liz Markovska played through what it looked like a really bad shoulder injury, and she thugged it out for her team deep into the 5th set. She was obviously in a lot of pain, and I'm not sure that it would have gone all that differently, but on senior night as one of the seniors, to be injured and have to sit out some of those sets would have been pretty terrible. So she hung in there and did the best that she could with the circumstances that she was playing in. But that is why they all get a big time thanks from Tigers on a Roll, and hopefully from all of the other fans that are tapped into the volleyball program. A lot of praise to all the seniors for their dedication to the program over the last couple years. And this team's energy is a huge asset to Auburn athletics. And the future's bright with them. Crouch is laying quite the foundation to rebuild from the seniors that will be leaving the program after the tournament. And he showed that. I think he got 4 recruits on National Signing Day, if I'm not mistaken. So they are rebuilding and reloading. But let's take a walk down Wire Road, why don't we? We're going to go from Neville to Waltaz, and the football team is on their final bye week before the final push, which is Mercer and the Iron Bowl to wrap the season and potentially make a bowl game. But put your headphones on, because this is the talk that I want y'all tuning in for. The biggest conversation right now is not about Alabama coming to town. It isn't even about the next head coach yet. It's about the quarterback room. And specifically, it's Ashton Daniels and Deuce Knight. Daniels has already played in 3 games. If he plays in 4 or more this season, he burns his redshirt and his college career is over. And with 2 games left, you do the math, it's not possible for Ashton to lead this team in both of them. The coaching staff is seriously considering sitting Daniels against Mercer to preserve that red shirt so he can come back next season. And that is a huge move to make for the long-term health of the program, especially one that's going to be under a new head coach next year. It potentially gives Auburn an experienced option that has been with the team for at least a year, and it can bridge the gap even a little bit longer until Deuce is truly ready. But that also means that the freshman phenom Deuce Knight, who's only appeared in one game this year, and it was a horrendous drive against Ball State, like, he's already secured his red shirt. But this will allow him to get the first team reps that I think he needs, because don't forget, it was a really bad drive against Ball State. But he was playing with all 2s and 3s. Like, that game was absolutely wraps, and they had him in there getting pressured for like 6 straight plays until they eventually punted it away. But Deuce Knight needs to be shot out of a cannon into preparation to lead the offense against Mercer. Like, the staff is more than capable of getting him ready with the extra week, and it will give fans and the staff a really clear picture of what Deuce is working with and what he can lay down on the field for the Tigers next season by getting a full 60 minutes of what he can do against Mercer. And you also get Deuce, hopefully a little bit of confidence in the program and a taste of what it's like walking out there in the orange and blue and playing in front of this home crowd for real. Because there is no question that not only is he being tampered with, but like, is he super confident in being associated with this team at all? Like, he already probably thinks he made a pretty drastic mistake not going to Notre Dame and staying closer to home to go to Auburn. And his paycheck is certainly making him feel a little bit better about that. But he's a football player, man. Like, the kid is a competitor and he wants to go compete. And if Auburn's going to go under another rebuilding phase, which we'll get to that in a second. You don't have to. But if we do, I don't think Deuce Knight is sticking around. You know, hopefully for the love of Auburn and the love of the game, he will, and he wants to be part of something truly special that is on the come up. There's something to be said about that. But you can't expect a kid that was like a 5-star plus to stick around and ride the bench on a team that constantly goes 6-6. You know, at least as far as his like young adult life has shown. Auburn is not necessarily the program that I think that he wanted to commit to, and now the coach that recruited him is not even here, or at least the head coach. But Durkin basically confirmed that is what they're going to go with. He said that they have a responsibility for the individual player's future, which would be Daniels' eligibility, and the team's collective success, which would be winning one or more of the next 2 games and getting live reps for Deuce Knight. Like, if we can beat Mercer with Deuce, we keep Daniels available for 26. And this bye week right now has got to be all about getting Deuce sharp and confident to carry the load next weekend so that they can set this quarterback room up like with some real confidence going into next fall. And that is a long time away. But speaking of 2026, like, the $1 million question is, like, who do these 2 guys, take these 2 guys, we'll talk about the recruits and whatever. Ashton, if he chooses to sit or they make him sit and then Deuce plays, what keeps them here? What do they want? It is a complicated situation. But the overwhelming sentiment right now is a call for stability and clear offensive identity. So, like, from the conversations being had around the facility, the current players are rallying around the guys who would bring like immediate proven success, but also have that edge that Cohen keeps talking about. Like, a lot of these guys that are on the current roster are riding for DJ Durkin. And they were recruited by Hugh Freeze, and they never really talked about Freeze this way. But they ride for DJ. And it's not surprising that they're reiterating that as like who they'd like to see as the next leader of the program. Because there's a real chance that a lot of these guys stick around if he is installed in some capacity as the leader of this program. I mean, they like playing for him, and he brings a whole new mood and type of structure to the football program that these kids haven't played under. Certainly not in the last 2 years, but if you go back even further, which I don't think there are, because Damari, I think, was the only Harsin holdover. But like, if you were around the facility when that was all going on, DJ Durkin, even as an interim, looks wildly different and looks like a real professional head coach, not just a couple guys making it up so that they can afford their country club membership or whatever. But alternatively, I think there's also a real chance that you see Auburn bring in a new head coach. And all I would want out of that scenario, at least for next year, is that Durkin is named associate head coach, because that would give him that would give him his flowers. That would give him the shout out for his efforts that he's made over the what will be the last few weeks of this season. And then the efforts that he'll have to ultimately put in until this head coach is in place to preserve this roster. And if he's made an associate head coach in 2026, like, that gives him the pat on the back, and it gives a lot of these guys the reassurance that they're looking for. And it lets everyone gel even faster than if you just throw in a new head coach and then you make Durkin either just the DC, which someone might, take the wrong way, or you overhaul the staff and DJ's not here and all these players up and leave after their, whatever it is, 5-day consultation period with the new head coach. But those are the current guys. The recruits in this class that will be signing in December, like, their sentiment is generally positive towards Auburn in general. They definitely love the guys that are recruiting them, and I don't think that they're super concerned about the head coaching situation, but it does definitely hurt them in their likelihood to sign with Auburn. But right now, you're selling Auburn. You're selling Auburn, and the staff, the lead recruiter, and the position coaches that are there are the ones that are telling them, no matter what you do, you are coming to a program that has shown the ability to go win championships. But this new hire is so key for this. The recruits, when they ultimately sign, are signing because they want to be at Auburn. But it cannot be overstated that each of them maintain a relationship with these lead recruiters and the position coaches. They are going to want the staff to be retained, whether it's Durkin as the actual head coach, or with a head coach that just gets integrated into an existing system and staff with some minimal turnover, so that the coaches that they're connected with are actually in Auburn when they arrive on campus. Like, my biggest fear is losing the top 15 class that we do have in our fingertips, because this season got off to such a terrible start under Hugh Freeze and the mismanagement of our offense, that the odds of holding this class together are like slim to none. But I think the odds are better than like most people might look at them from the outside and say that there's no way Auburn gets a recruit. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think that we're going to have to go down and sit with a bunch of 3 stars and just make do. I think the odds of keeping these guys on this roster are a lot better than we think they are, but that is far from guaranteed. But the core of this class, especially the Deep South commits, have shown tremendous loyalty, and they've stuck with Auburn, not only through the losses, but through the staff turmoil. And so roster retention and keeping these recruits in the class are key for the next month and change, as we get these recruits who are investing in Auburn to actually sign their letter of intent and not worry whether or not they are going to, play for this head coach that they've not met yet. Like, you've got to get them to sign that paper, and then you win half the battle. But if Cohen can hire a head coach really quickly and they make the strategic move to keep parts of this current staff, mostly on the defensive side of the ball, I think it mitigates a lot of risk of losing these recruits. And the longer it drags on past the first week of December, you're risking a max exodus of the staff, the players on the current roster, and then a lot of these guys, you're risking them not signing their paperwork on National Signing Day, and you might be out a dozen or more blue chip players. Like the odds of that dramatically increase the longer this takes Cohen to make a decision. And we'll see how it shakes out. I mean, best case scenario is that 2026 is handled with white gloves, with kid gloves, and the new coach respects as many of the key pieces of Auburn's recruiting staff, especially, but so that the transition period has as little friction as possible. Like, you can change the leadership of this football team, but that does not mean every single layer of the program needs to be overhauled. It was obvious the last couple weeks that this was a Hugh Freeze. Auburn had a Hugh Freeze problem, and they've jettisoned that dead weight from the program, and they freed themselves. And it did not ultimately result in a win, but it was damn close, and it was high flying, and it was impressive, and that got a lot of recruits reinvested in Auburn. And we have 2 more games and a couple more weeks until signing day, and you need to hold on to that momentum. And I'll tell you one really good way to get momentum, and it's not the craziest thing ever, because there are still people picking Auburn over Alabama in the Iron Bowl. Go out in Jordan-Hare Stadium in a night game in the Iron Bowl to end a really terrible season on a high note and go beat Alabama. Easier said than done, but that would be a great way to open and shut case on all these kids. Boom, we did it. We got over the hump. We are there. Now we just need to add a real head coach, and we are going to be fine next season. No rebuild period, yada, yada, yada. That would be ideal. We'll see if that happens. That's probably wishful thinking, but after what we saw against Vandy last week, with 1 week of preparation for that game after firing the head coach, they almost did it. So think about that. And before we wrap, let's get a word from our sponsors. Brahma Marketing is your one-stop shop for everything from signs and apparel to high-impact vehicle wraps. As a certified 3M graphics company, they guarantee quality and durability. They've partnered with Graystar Real Estate, Prisma Health, HD Supply, and more. Stop blending in and start standing out. Visit BrahmaMarketing.com to get started on your next project. War Eagle from the Orlando Auburn Club. Are you an Auburn alum or fan living in the Orlando area? This is more than just a club. It's your official connection to the Auburn family right here in Central Florida. The club hosts watch parties and networking events for past, current, and future Tigers and their families. Find them on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and online at orlandoauburnclub.org. Let me get some refreshment here. All right, folks. Well, that's the deal on the Plains. We're ultimately in a holding pattern, but it's focused, and there's a concerted effort to get this thing squared away once and for all. We need to save the recruiting class. We need to retain the guys that are on the team now. And those guys are going to be the difference makers for us to make sure that next year is not a rebuild, like a bottom of the barrel rebuilding year where Auburn goes 5-7 or just wins the bye games or whatever. I think all we need to do is we need to replace a couple position coaches and then get a head coach that will not overhaul the entire program. But if the new head coach does want to do that, they are playing with fire. If he comes in and tries to overhaul this staff, good luck to him. he's going to have people from the 3 deep starting games for the next 2 years. Let's hope that doesn't happen. Today, this is going on today. So we're Thursday, November 13th right now. Great game from the women's basketball team today. They played a midday game. They put up 110 points on Mississippi Valley and got that midday game win in front of a crowd of screaming children for their education appreciation game. They are certainly some Tigers on a roll. And I hope that we all are as some of these fall seasons wrap up. But until next time, War Eagle, and I'll see you.